Good morning, everybody. And previous some topics are completed about the respiration. In the pathway of air is completed. How the air enter and exit of in your body, and which part here to go to the air, and how to we can convert it, and how the we can oxygen and carbon dioxide enter and exit throughout the body. Explain the topic in pathway of air can complete it. Today we are going to discuss about another one interesting topic of in your lesson. In the already know that in the pharynx part consisting two track systems are there. The maintaining two track systems. One is respiratory tracks is there. One is the respiratory track. Another one is the foot track we can maintain. So here in the pharynx chamber consisting of one flap-like structure. The flap-like structure is called here epiglottis. So today I am going to discuss about the class how this flap-like structure the maintain the at the same time and opening of foot track and opening of respiratory track, how we can involving out there. So in the structure, that anatomical structure, what is introduction of epiglottis and how many bones we can appear the epiglottis, how this epiglottis and the opening and closing maneuver of in your foot pipe and in your respiratory tract. So shall I discuss in the start the today topic epiglottis, how the epiglottis maintain foot pipe and respiratory tract, how to we can maintain all the ears. So let's see. So first, where the epiglottis is located of in your body? Epiglottis is located in the pharynx chamber. This chamber only pharynx chamber. The epiglottis located in the pharynx chamber. In the pharynx, a funnel shaped like structure. What is up here? A pharynx is a funnel shaped like structure. These are totally here pharynx are the ears. A funnel shaped like structure. This is a funnel shaped like structure. And this funnel almost 13 centimeter long and 1.5 at the centimeter width consisting in this chamber. So in the 13 centimeter long and the 1.5 centimeter width type of in the funnel shaped like structure is chamber is pharynx. And this pharynx, three different types of is that we can dividing and the consisting of in the nasopharynx, oropharynx and hypopharynx. The hypopharynx is called for a laryngopharynx. The pharynx divided into three different chambers when the division by the muscular partition on the nasopharynx, oropharynx and hypopharynx. You know that everybody nasopharynx means the pharynx in the upper part connection in the nasal cavity. That chamber is called for nasopharynx, and the pharynx connection to the oral cavity, that is called for oropharynx are there. One of the doubts, sir, in the nasopharynx, oropharynx, how we can separate in the nasopharynx and oropharynx, the separated by some muscular septum that is called for bony palate. Bony palate. In nasopharynx and oropharynx, you can separate by some muscular partition. The muscular partition is called for bony palate. They can combine only pharynx chamber only. Both are we can connected in the pharynx chamber. Just certain feeling are there in your nose wise and mouth wise. You both wise we can enter some gases, but we can reach into the pharynx part. Also sometimes your cough and cold feeling are there, like sometimes nose and your ears both are closing. That time opening of mouth, automatically some respiration we can occurs are there. You already some personal experience in this wise. So in the oropharynx means the pharynx attachment of oral cavity of your mouth, that is oropharynx. The pharynx attachment of the nasal cavity in this chamber is called for nasopharynx. But nasopharynx and oropharynx we can separate by some muscular partition, that is called for bony palate. And what is the final laryngopharynx? In the laryngopharynx means the pharynx in the below part attachment of the respiratory tract in the pharynx is called for laryngopharynx. These pharynx we can maintain the some tract system is there, that is also called as hypopharynx are there. But where the epiglottis is located in the nasopharynx or oropharynx or hypopharynx, the epiglottis in the exact place in the located oropharynx. The oropharynx consisting of here epiglottis part. Is it clear? The oropharynx in the located epiglottis. The epiglottis. Sir, what is the meaning of epiglottis are there? Let us see in the structure wise in the epiglottis, everybody. This is the epiglottis structure. The epiglottis located in the which place? Oropharynx place. So epiglottis in structurally, and this is the one epiglottis structure we can observe. The epiglottis is made up of elastic cartilage. The first you know epiglottis is a flexible part. Epiglottis is one of the flexible part as a thin leaf shaped structure. You can observe. Epiglottis is a flexible flap, a flexible and a thin leaf shaped like structure at the superior border of the larynx or the voice box and related position into the epiglottis projection of the pharynx. Like clear. Epiglottis shape is called here in the, this is epiglottis part. Epiglottis part. Epiglottis is one of the flap muscular structure. The flap like in the muscular structure, but the shape is a leaf shaped like structure only here. And of the flexible part. Yes or no? Yes. But in the this epiglottis in the two surfaces are there, one anterior surface and another one posterior surface. That means the forward facing is anterior, in the backward facing is posterior. You can attach me. In the epiglottis, two surfaces you can maintain, anterior surface and posterior surface. Anterior surface is called forward facing and posterior surface is called backward facing or the rear. In the anterior surface of epiglottis, in the several layer of thin cells or the hairs, in anterior surface number several layers. The epiglottis in the multi-layer formation at a single layer, the muscular partition, the flap-like structure. In the structurally, epiglottis is a leaf-less structure in the flap-like structure and the muscular partition and made by the elastic cartilage we can made up of. The covered with mucous membrane also we can covered with in this layer. These two faces are there, anterior surface and the posterior surface. Anterior surface is called for in the forward facing and the posterior surface is called for backward facing. In forward facing of anterior surface, the made up of several layers of some thin cells are there here. So we can dot cells are there. These thin cells we can made up in the squamous epithelial tissues. That means stratified squamous epithelial tissues made up of in the forward face. In the backward face, pseudo stratified columnar epithelial tissue. Or we can the structure wise in the anterior surface and posterior surface we can different. Anterior surface was in the made up of several layers are there. We can the cells are we can cover with which type of tissue are there. In the stratified squamous epithelial tissue, the made up of in the forward surface. In the backward wise, in the made up of in the pseudo stratified only single layer formation, the made up of pseudo stratified columnar epithelium tissue. But in the anterior surface, totally in this anterior surface totally made up of hairs. In the non-keratinized stratified are the hairs. That means there is no keratinoid substance. But the back side consisting of totally keratinoid substance are the hairs. The keratinoid substance. And the posterior surface. In the posterior surface lining into the larynx part, in the anterior surface lining into the pharynx chamber. Let's see. In the anatomical wise, anterior surface, in the forward surface, the several layers are there. That is called with the made up of in the stratified squamous epithelial tissues. The covered by some mucous membrane is there. It attachment into the pharynx part, and the backward surface and the keratinoids layer, only single layer consisting, the made up of pseudo stratified columnar epithelial tissue with the tissue lying in the larynx part. So this anatomical structure we can observe. But epiglottis, in the we can observe the epiglottis layer. This is the anterior surface and posterior we can clearly observe. We can observe this diagram in the epiglottis anatomy wise. Anterior view and posterior view. This is the epiglottis, and this structure is in the epiglottis are there in the blue color. When the anterior view in the front position and the back position, what type of structure we can observe are there? Is clear? Yes. Let us see. So the epiglottis is a thin leaf-shaped structure at the superior border of the larynx or voice box. In a relaxed position, the epiglottis projects into the pharynx or throat and rests in the posterior direction. Its shape is like a teardrop with a white rounded region in the superior end of the trapetative point. That means in the rest position, we can the relaxed position of epiglottis, two different structures are there in the pharynx chamber wise and also one in the larynx chamber wise. Two different positions we can maintain. Which time only? Relaxed position time. Okay, and we can this epiglottis, the normally we can mean the hyoid bone like structure. See, throughout the each day, a lot of continuous days are there when the epiglottis spends the vast majority of time relaxed position. That means which time you have to talking are there, which time you have to take the food, that time only the working of epiglottis. Remaining all the time the epiglottis is in the relaxed position are there in the super edge of in the larynx chamber. We can relaxed position. Yes, and when we swallow the food or drink that any object in the epiglottis, that moves performs its visual function. Otherwise there is no moving in the epiglottis. Either drinking time or the swallowing the food or the breathing, and that time only we can, not a breathing time, the swallowing and the drinking time only the epiglottis the moves the perform its visual function. Normally, how is the movement we can occurs? The movement of epiglottis to allows the wide superior portion of epiglottis to fold down on the top of the glottis to the larynx, covering the opening of the airway, the maintained by hyoid bone. The hyoid bone. The epiglottis movement, like in the closing and opening, the which type of structure of movement are the here? Hyoid bone we can movement are the here. When the opening or closing, we get decided the bone. Epiglottis, the automatic does not opening and close the food. We can the entire the in our mouth to in the buccal cavity to the esophagus time. When the esophagus entry, these epiglottis in the hyoid bone we can contraction. The hyoid bone continue contraction, then the epiglottis continue closing into the respiratory tract. That time opening of the gastrointestinal tract are the here. That maintain the total we can structure. Hyoid bone we can maintain or that bending toward continuously are there, involving some muscular partition. This is a total in the structure of in the anatomically in the epiglottis. Some of the doubt are the everybody, sir, how the epiglottis in the development of in your body. Normally this epiglottis arises from the fourth pharyngeal. Is clear? This epiglottis arises from the fourth pharyngeal tract. It can be seen as a distinct structure later than the other cartilage of the pharynx and visible around the 5th month of development. When the baby grow up into the 5th month in the mother body, in the 5th month time, that month we can this type of in the flap like in the muscular structure in our epiglottis that develop into the mother in the baby body. And the position of the epiglottis also changes with the aging. When the age we can grow up or the epiglottis in the position also we can changing. In infants, it touches the soft plate, where as in adults in the position is lower. You can observe here, infants and our adults, we can different positions are the epiglottis. Do you agree with this statement? Yes. In adults wise, just in the low surface in the located here, in the infants wise, in the softer palate are there here, like you open your mouth wise, some one like in the string like structure we can movement are there, the soft palate wise, that's located in the epiglottis in infants. In the lower adults we can convert it here, just in the epiglottis we can down in the muscle converted, the made up of hyoid bone totally converted. That time you can locate in the oropharynx chamber. So located different places are the here. Epiglottis. This is clear? Epiglottis, what is the structure of first in this topic? What is the pharynx chamber and where is epiglottis located? What is the structure of epiglottis and how the epiglottis is working are there? Now we can continue how the epiglottis are working. These epiglottis the maintain and the opening and closing two different types of tracks you can maintain are the here. Opening and closing two different types of track. Let us see. When the epiglottis, when you swallow if any type of food there is a A flap like in the epiglottis moves blocks the entrance of food particles into the larynx in the lungs. So automatic what happened is here when we enter the food particles in this are there, the food particles when they push down into the epiglottis here enter into the another tract is there, that is the digestive tract or gastrointestinal tract. Let's see. When we are taking any type of food particles are there like swallowing purpose, so the food totally here this epiglottis in the pushing down, that means bending it forwards. The bending ways what happened is this tract totally closed, so automatically what happened is one other tract we can open. When the epiglottis is closed, the opening of gastrointestinal tract. When the epiglottis is open, the opening of your respiratory tract is there. Yes. When the food we can enter off in your oral cavity is some involving some muscular partition of hyoid bone. The totally we can the bending, floating. So what type of mechanisms are there clearly said here? During swallowing the food in the epiglottis bends, what happened is in the bend backwards folding over the entrance to the trachea to preventing food from the going to it. So automatically preventing food into the trachea part. The folding backward is a complex movement, the causes of which is incompletely understood. It is likely that during swallowing the hyoid bone and the larynx move upward and forward, which increase passive pressure from the beak of the tongue. The automatic some pressure created by the tongue because an epiglottic muscles, that means arterioepiglottic muscles are contract here involving some muscles are there, that arterioepiglottic muscles are involving arterioepiglottic muscles are involving. How the epiglottis are moving continuous are because involving the hyoid bone consisting of some muscles, that arterioepiglottic muscles are there. These arterioepiglottic muscle contraction, the food we can pushing down into the epiglottis, the food enter into the gastrointestinal tract. That time what happened is the contraction of laryngeal and thyroid muscles are become contraction. The automatic in the thyroid line, laryngeal and thyroid. In this time thyroid muscles are become contraction, the pushing of the food directly into the esophagus. In the thyroid means your neck part here, your neck consisting of some muscles are there, that is thyroid muscles. This thyroid muscle contraction, when the food we can enter the ears, some weight we can created by the food, so automatically the bending into the epiglottis, the food we can passing into the gastrointestinal tract. You don't know if you confused are the here. How the epiglottis bending forwards by involving of two muscles are there, one arterioepiglottic muscles, another one thyroid muscles. Arterioepiglottic muscles, when the food we can enter time here, the muscles are contraction and the hyoid bone totally are contraction position. When the food we can enter in the epiglottis in the oropharynx chamber, the thyroid muscle contraction, the hyoid bone we can start the contraction time, the closing into the epiglottis to the respiratory tract. That time automatic the food we can enter into the in this chamber. Otherwise respiration automatic in the safe in the position. Is it clear? These are the structure in the epiglottis structure. We can see the in the video wise. Just here to observe the video here, everybody. In the oropharynx chamber, these are food particles are there. How the food particle, this epiglottis, how the epiglottis closing are there here. Just you can just in this time here the epiglottis are we can the closing of here in this track on the respiratory tract are there, so automatic opening here gastrointestinal tract. Otherwise then the epiglottis open, the opening into the respiratory tract is there here. So clearly what you said, when the epiglottis we can close, opening is the gastrointestinal tract. When epiglottis is open, open into the respiratory tract is there. Yes or no? Yes. Here how this epiglottis closing in the foods are here, because this epiglottis consisting of a hyoid bone are there. Hyoid bone, this hyoid bone we can contraction the help of only some muscle. That muscles is called for which muscles are there in the contraction the muscles, I'm saying two different muscles are there. Atriopyglotic muscles. This atriopyglotic muscles in the contraction of hyoid bone. When the hyoid bone contraction, the movement are there in the opening and closing we can movement. When the movement of muscles, the muscles is called for here thyroid muscles. When the hyoid bone contraction, the hyoid bone begin the contraction time, the matter transfer the thyroid muscle. The thyroid muscle, the movement or we can occurs in the opening and closing the foot time only here. So at that time automatic opening into the track, begin the reverse. Automatic in the reverse conditions are there here. You can see. The flap-like structure opening and closing anterior and posterior surface we can observe here. Anterior and posterior surface. Sometimes what happened is here taking the foot sometimes you're talking at some friends and discuss continue talking at the sometimes what happened the foot we can enter the foot we can enter the ears in this tag. That time what happened is just some chalking process occurs are there. Chalking means yes what we said in our elders are a polymer in the is some meaning are there here, some cough continuously are there here. That means sometimes this leads into the death also. Sometimes that leads into the death also is there here. So that's why don't talk to others in some eating food time. Some everybody we can talking discuss into the only eating their food time only here. That food time talking are there, the epiglottis is just not working in this time. The food we can enter the only here our respiratory tract. In the respiratory tract enter the food particles, some chalking process are there. If somebody says that realize polymer in the over the somebody saying are there over the food we can enter the only respiratory tract are there in the scientifically. Is it clear? So that is how the epiglottis in the maintain the food pipe and gastrointestinal tract. This is a maintaining system involving of thyroid, tendroid muscles and the arteriopyglotic muscles and hyoid bone. These three parts are continuous contraction relaxation the maintained by the ears, foot and following pipe. What we said, when the epiglottis we can opening the respiratory tract, when the epiglottis we can close the opening of gastrointestinal tract. The two tract we can maintain, that's why epiglottis is called for guardian of the airway. What is the here? Guardian of the airway is the call. So this is a only small topic of an epiglottis part. Tomorrow the mechanism of respiration is there. What is the structure of the lungs, how the air inhalation and exhalation of in your body, the total concept is there. Let us see the next video in the mechanism of respiration tomorrow class. Thank you.